Welcome to today's class. This is Sigma Tech Consult Limited. Today we'll be taking a topic in mathematics, compound interest. As you can see on the screen, okay? We want to look at some business aspect of mathematics, okay? Because in one way or the other, when in practical life you will experience this kind of thing, so you should know how to solve them, okay? So let's look at our learning objectives for today, or for this particular topic. We said by the end of the lesson, you should be able to define compound interest. You should also be able to calculate and solve problems on compound interest. So these are basically the two objectives that we want to achieve by the end of this class. All right, so what is compound interest? I said compound interest refers to interest calculated on both the amount or the principal amount of a loan or an investment, as well as on the accumulated interest over a period of time. Okay, I said it is in compound interest, interest is calculated and added. Okay, interest is calculated simply and added to the principal at the end of each interval. What that means is that, you know, the length of investment or the length of borrowing that money or whatsoever will be agreed. It may be in 1 month's time you have to return the money, or you have to get your money back from the investment. It may be in 6 months' time, in 1 year time. So that talks about the interval, the duration of time that money is supposed to be in use. Okay, so we said that in compound interest, interest is calculated and added to the principal at the end of each interval. So if we have like 4 intervals or 4 years, for example, you know, if we say 4 years, it means 4 intervals. So at the end of each interval, which is an interval of 1 year, okay, the interest is calculated and added to the principal just like that for 4 good years. Okay, we say thus the principal increases, and so the interest becomes larger for each interval. So this is unlike what we have in the simple interest, where we have just an interest that is calculated for an amount or for a principal for a particular period of time at a given rate. Okay, so most saving schemes give compound interest and not simple interest. Okay. So let's say you want to save your money, or your daddy is saving money in the bank. Okay, everybody wants to go for an investment that has a compounded interest on it. Okay, because the reason is because the interest is higher than what you have in the simple interest. So the total value at the end of the investment is the what? Compound interest. So what you get at the end of that investment is what we call compound interest. So there is a formula here. We say compound amount is equal to compound interest plus principal amount. The compound amount is the compound interest plus principal amount. So let's say you are done investing for 4 years. The amount you're taking back is an accumulation of compound interest. Let's say if it is for 4 years, the interest of 4 years plus the amount. Okay, when we solve or get an example, you will understand. So this formula you have here, you take note of it, because we will always refer to it when we begin to solve. So compound amount is equal to compound interest plus principal amount. All right, so let's take some example. Let's see how to calculate some stuff in compound interest. We have a question there. That question says, calculate the compound interest on 6,000 naira for 4 years at 10% per annum. And we know that per annum means per year. That is each year. Now, they went further to ask, what is the compound amount? That means how much will this person take home at the end of this investment? The compound amount is the amount accumulated for 4 years, okay, plus the addition of the interest that's also accumulated for 4 years, okay? So let's solve this solution. Now, your understanding of simple interest will play a major role, a vital role in finding compound interest, okay? So what we basically want to do here is to calculate simple interest for 4 years. So simple interest for year 1, simple interest for year 2, simple interest for year 3 and year 4, since they say 4 years. Now, after we are done calculating the simple interest for year 1, okay, remember simple interest P, which is the principal times time times rate, all over 100. Okay, when we get that, that gives us simple interest. Now, for the second year, what forms our principal will be, remember the definition I gave to you from compound interest. What will form our amount or principal for the year 2 will be that simple interest we got from the year 1 plus the amount of the year 1. That gives us the amount that we will use for the second year. It goes just like that for the 4 years. So I will give you an example of what it is now. So our simple interest, so we are calculating interest of 4 years. So interest 1 for year 1, interest of year 1. So I have it as interest 1, okay? Remember, it is principal times rate times time all over 100. Okay? So what that means, remember, where P is equal to 6,000, all right? We have our rate as 10%, okay? And our time is 4 years. Time is equal to 4 years. Now, follow me now. So we said that interest for year 1 will now be equal to P, which is 6,000, 6,000 times rate, which is 10%, that is 10 over 100. Sorry, that is 10, all right, times. Now, I'm not going to put the 4 years because I am repeating this thing 4 times. So I'm not going to put the 4 years here. What I'll put here is 1, just this for year 1, okay? So I can even as well do without putting the year, okay? So that I don't confuse you with that. You can just remove it, forget about putting the year. So just you will remove the T, but if you want to be confused, maybe you may be confused, you can just put the times 1 all over 100. You see this? All over 100. So what this means is this removes this, right? This take away this. So we are having 600 left here times 1, 600 times 1, 600. So our interest for year 1 is equal to 600 naira. 600 naira. You see that? So our interest for year 1 is 600 naira. This is the interest for year 1. Now, year 2, second year now. This is our first year now. Second year. Now, the first thing we ask for second year is, what is the principal? What is the amount? The amount stroke principal for second year is the principal of the first year, which is 6,000, plus the interest for first year, which is 600. So this gives us 6,000 plus 600 is 6,600. So 6,600 naira. This is in naira, please. 6,600 naira. So now it means that if this man decides to take his investment at the end of this 1 year, this is what he's going with. Instead of 6,000 that he was given, so he's going with 6,600. Okay? But then the investment contract is for 4 years. So the second year now we'll calculate the interest for year two interest to be P times R, okay? Times T all over 100. Is that okay? So our P for 2, let me put it P2. This place is P1. Okay? All right. So this is our P2 now. This is our P2. So let's just have it as principal 2 or amount 2. So P2 is now 6,600. You get the point now? Instead of bringing in the 6,000, no, the new amount is what we use for the simple interest of the next year. So 6,600 is the new amount for the next year. Will be multiplied by 10. Remember, 10 is constant, 10%, okay, times 1 all over 100, okay? Remember I said you can do away with the time, but just I'm putting this thing here so that because 1 times anything here is still that thing, so that's why I'm putting it here. So the first one, this is the first year one, second year, and all that. All right, so let's see what this will be now. This cancels this cancels this. It means that the interest is equal to 6,000, okay, 660 naira rather. All right, so at the end of the second year, the interest 2 or the interest of the second year is 660 naira. So we are done with that. Then third year, the third year, which is the principal what? 3 or amount 3. Okay, either you call it the principal or the amount. So the principal of the third year, this is the principal of the second year, this is the principal of the first year here, okay, which is this one given in the question. So the principal of the third year is the principal of the second year added to the principal or the interest of the second year. So we have P2 plus I2 forms the principal of the third year. Do you understand? So this is equal to, this is 6,600 plus 660, okay? 6,600, 660, okay? So 6600, 660, 06, this is 2, carry 1, put here. So this is 7260, 7260, okay? 000, 066, 12, put here, take 1 here. So 7260. So our P3 is equals to 7260. That is 7,260 naira. So this is the amount for the for the third year. This is the amount for the third year. So what is the interest for the third year? So the interest of the third year, which is I3, so our I3 will now be equal to P3 times R. Our R is constant. That is the rate, is 10%. All right? Times T all over 100. So this becomes P3 is 7260. 7260 times rate is 10%. So 10 over 100. Okay, times 1 all over 100. Is that okay? So 0, we remove this 0. This, we remove this. Okay? So we are having our interest of the third year to be 726 naira for the third year. Okay? Then, for the fourth year, which is the last year, they say for 4 years. So, if they say for 10 years, you are going to be doing this thing for 10 years. All right? Okay. So, for 10 years, or for fourth year right now, so year 4 or fourth year, what is our P4? That is first thing you ask. P4 is simply P3, P3 plus I3. You get that? Our P3 is 7260. This is it, 7260. Okay? Plus our I3 is 726. 726, all in naira. So 7260 plus 726. So we have 6. This plus this is 8. That is 6 plus 2, 8. 2 plus 7 is 9. 7 plus nothing is 7. So we have our principal for fourth year to be 7,986. You see that? 7,986. So what is then our interest for the fourth year? It will be equal to principal of the fourth year times rate, which is constant, times time all over 100. All right? So what that will mean is our principal for the fourth year, 7,986 multiplied by our rate is 10% times 1 all over 100. All right? So we are having this into this. All right? So we are having 7,986 multiplied by 1 is 7,986. Multiplied by 1 again is 7,986. So we are having 7,986 divided by 10. 7,986 divided by 10. All right? So this is a division in the power of 10 or in multiple of 10. Okay? So what that will be is we have a decimal point here that is invisible. Remember, every number with a decimal point, without a decimal point, has an invisible decimal point at the end of that number. Okay? So once you have that number being divided with any number in the multiple of 10, that is 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 and all that, that negative number, that decimal point which is invisible, is taken backward depending on the number of 0 that we have in that number that is a multiple of 10. So here we have just 1 0. So this point will move back. Okay? So it will not be here. So it means that the interest for the fourth year will be 798.6 naira. Now, look at this. Now, they said calculate the compound interest. The compound interest. Remember the formula we talked about. The formula we talked about says that compound amount is equal to the, what is it called? Compound interest plus principal. Remember this formula, compound amount is equal to compound interest plus principal. So permit me to always use this thing to be compound amount represented as CA is equal to compound interest CI plus P, which is principal. Is that okay now? All right. So now, what is the compounded amount at the end of these 4 years? But the first thing we have to look at, they say we should calculate the compound interest. So let's look at what the compound interest is. Now, compound interest, this compound interest is simply the addition of all the interest we have in that year. The addition of all the interest that we have there. Do you understand me now? We have interest for year 1, which is 600. Interest for year 2. Interest for year 3. And interest for year 4, which is this. So when we add everything together, it gives us the compound interest for that year. So let's look at that now. So let me quickly clean this. All right. So therefore, compound interest is equals to interest for year 1 plus interest for year 2 plus interest for year 3 plus interest for year 4. You get what I'm saying? What I have here now. So the interest of the 4 years. Interest for year 1, we got 600 naira. Plus interest for year 2, I think we got 6,600, 660 naira rather. Plus interest for year 3, 726 naira, 726 naira. Plus interest for year 4, 798.6, 798.6. So when we add this together, it gives us the interest, the compound interest. So this is equal to 600. Let me have it like this, plus 660 plus 726 plus 798.6. Remember, all these are 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, so that you don't, okay? There is a 0.0 that is invisible there. All right, so plus. I know in your exam, especially in the basic NECO exam, you'll be allowed to use calculator. So you just punch this with your calculator, okay, and get the answer. So this is 0.6, all right, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6, that's 6. So you bring your point down, point plus point plus point plus point is C point, okay? So 0 plus 0 is 0, okay? 6 plus 8 is 14, okay? So this is 4, we write 4, take 1, and put in 0, it becomes 1, all right? 1 plus 6. 1 plus 6 is 7, all right? 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. So write down 8 from 18 and put 1 here, all right? 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13, okay? 13 plus 7 is 20. 20 plus 7 is 27. So this is 27. So the interest, so we said therefore compound interest for this at the end of 4 years is 2,784.6 naira. So this is our compound interest for the what is it called? The compound interest for the 4 years. Now, the other question is, what is the amount? What is the compounded amount? Remember, we said that the compounded amount is equal to compound interest plus principal. Compound interest plus principal. So, I said compounded amount or compound amount is equal to compound interest plus principal. This principal is our first year principal, don't forget that. Okay, so our compound amount is equal to, what is our simple interest, our compound interest? 2784.6, okay? So 2784 84.6 plus, what is our principal? Our principal is 6,000. That is that first money that they told us about. So this will now be equal to, when we add this together, if we add 6,000 plus 2784.6. Remember there is also 0.0 here. So this will be 0 plus 6, this is 6. 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 plus 8 is 8. 0 plus 7 is 7. 7 plus 6 plus 2 is 8. So this will give us 8,000. Okay? So this gives us 8,784.6 naira. So the compounded amount at the end of this particular year, what this person gets in total is 8,784.6 naira. That means that it will be the accumulation of his own money and the interest that he got from what he was asked to give. Okay? So that is how to get that from what we have just done now. So the next thing we have here is calculate the compound interest on 80,000 naira. This 80,000 for 3 years at 5% per annum. So let's look at this quickly. Okay, so let's look at that. Solution. So we have 80,000 naira invested, maybe into a business or borrowed, and the lender requires that a compound interest is given to him at the end of 3 years. So what do we do? How do we calculate this so that the person borrowing this, the person borrowing this money will know that at the end of these 3 years, this is how much you're bringing back or something like that. So year one, we look at this. Interest is equal to, that's interest of the first year is equal to principal of the first year times rate, which is constant, times time, all over 100. All right? Of course, we know that the principal of the first year is this one given. Do you understand me? This 5% is constant in the 3 years that we'll calculate. Okay? So, to calculate this simple interest of the first year, of course, our first principal is 80,000. So we, in place of P1, we put 80,000 there times our fixed rate, 5%, times 1 over 100. Okay? So this removes this removes this. Okay? So we're having 800 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. So 800 times 5 is about 4,000. Okay? So 800 times 5. Okay? So this is 0, 0. 8 times 5 is 40. So, you see that? So it means that this interest is 4,000. So 80,000, 5% of it is 4,000. Sorry, is 4,000. Okay? So this is our interest of the first year. So for the second year, for year 2, second year, let me have second year here. P2 will now be equal to P1 plus I1. So it will be equal to 80,000. That is 80, 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So 80,000 plus 4, that is 84,000. So this is 84,000 because 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 4 plus 0 is 4, then 8 plus nothing is, okay? So 84,000 naira. So it means that I2 will now be equal to P2 times rate, which is constant, times time over 100. So this will be equal to 84,000 multiplied by how many percent? 5% times 1 all over 100. All right? So this removes this. This removes this. So we are having 840 times 5. 840 multiplied by 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. So rather than 0, carry 2. 5 times 8 is 40. All right? 40 plus 2 is 42. So this is 42. So this is 42,000. So this interest is 42,000 naira. 4,200 rather, please. 4,200 naira. So the interest of the second year is 4,200 naira. All right? So why the last year now, because this is running for 3 years, the third year will now be what? The principal of the third year will now be principal of the second year plus interest of the second year. You must be very careful when putting in these figures because sometimes they may be confusing. So principal of the second year, P2, look at it, 84,000 naira, okay, plus interest of the second year for 4,200 naira. All right, when we add that together, 84,000 naira plus 4,200, we'll have 0, 0, these, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8, 8, nothing, 8. Okay, so have 88,200. So this is P3 giving us an amount of 88,200 rather. 88,200. So this is our principal for the third year. So we say therefore interest for the third year is equals to P3 times rate, which is constant, times time, all over 100. Okay, so we fix our values. What is our P3? 88,200. So 88,200 times 5 times 1 over 100. Okay, so this removes this, this removes this. So we are having 882 times 5. So 882 multiplied by 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Write down 0, carry 1 and add here. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 1, 41. Write down 1, carry 4 and add in this other side. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4, 44. So this is 44. So it's 4,410 naira. So this interest for I3 is equal to 4,410 naira. Okay, of course, that is not our answer. The question is calculate the compound interest. So simply, the compound interest, we say compound interest is equal to interest of year 1 plus interest of year 2 plus interest of year 3. You get that? All right. So that will give us our first interest for year 1 is 4,000. So 4,000 plus our second interest for year 2, I2. Where is our I2? 4,200. 4,200. Then our interest for year 3 is 4,410. 4,410 naira. When we add them together, we'll have 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2 plus 4 is 6. 4 plus 4 is 16. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. So it's 12,000. We said, therefore, compound interest is equals to 12,610 naira. All right? 12,610. So that is the compound interest of 80,000 naira for 3 years at an interest rate of 5% per annum. Okay? So let's look at some examples from our Examguide app. Let's look at some things there from the Examguide app. All right? Okay, so let's look at some random questions on simple interest. All right? So let's look at the first question we have there. They say, find the interest on 40,000 naira for 2 years. So this is good. It's just 2 times we are doing this. Okay? For 2 years at 20% per annum compound interest. Now, listen, they didn't ask you find the, like what they wrote here is not find the compound interest, but I like the fact that at the end they said per annum compound interest. Know that it's compound interest question they're asking you, not simple interest. So don't go and stop at simple interest and give, because they will give you options that the answer you get when you apply simple interest in this, you get an answer in the option. That is not what they are looking for. Okay? So let's look at 40,000 naira for 2 years at 20% per annum. All right? Okay, so let's look at that here. 40,000 naira. Number 3. 40,000 naira. Let me just write 40,000 naira. 40,000 naira for 2 years. For 2 years at 20%. 20% PA per annum. That's what PA mean, okay? So they say we should calculate the what? Compound interest. Simple. Solution to this is, all right. Of course, the first year, we have 2 years, so we don't have so much work here. The first year, all right? So we have interest, that is simple interest of the first year, to be equal to principal of the first year times rate times time all over 100. Is that okay? So our P1 is 40,000. So we have 40,000 naira, 1, 2, 3, multiplied by how many percent? 20%. Multiplied by 20 times 1 all over 100. Okay, so 40,000 multiplied by 20%. Okay, so this is taking out this. This is taking out this to reduce 40,000 naira to 4,000. So 4,000 times 2 is 8,000. So our interest of the first year is 8,000 naira. So our interest for the first year is 8,000 naira. All right? So 8,000 naira is the interest for the first year. So the next thing we do is the second year now. So for year 2, second year, second year will be what? First of all is the P2. What is the principal of the second year? The principal will be the interest of P1 and the principal of P1. P1 principal plus I1. All right. So this will be the principal of the first year is 40,000. So this is 40,000 plus the interest is 8,000. 8,000. So 40,000 plus 8,000, it means our P2 is equal to 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus this is 4, okay? So this is 48. You should understand that, okay? 48,000. That is 0, 0 is 0, 0, 0 is 0, okay? 0, 0 again is, this 48,000 rather. 48,000. So these 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, look at them. Then this 0 and 8, look at the 8. 4 in nothing is this, okay? So it means that therefore, interest for year 2 will now be equal to P2 times R times T all over 100, which is equal to 48,000 times 20%, right? Yes, 20% for 2 years. That is the second time now, okay? So this removes this, this removes this. So we are having 4,800 multiplied by 2. So 4,800 multiplied by 2. So we are having 4,800 times 2, 0, 0. 2 times 8 is 16, 6, carry 1, put here. 2 times 4, 8 plus 1, 9. Okay, so 9,600. All right, so this is 9,600. This I2, please. 9,600. 9,600 is the interest for the second year. So, but the question is, we should find the interest in a compounded interest. Like find the interest on 40,000 naira for 2 years at 20% per annum compound interest. Now, if you look at the option, you have 20, you have 17, you have 8,000. Now, you see that 8,000 in option C, that is the 8,000 we got as first interest of the first year. So if you go and pick that, you are wrong. You see again in option D, they gave you the interest for the second year, which is 9,600, option D. I said your examiners can be very tricky so that you don't get confused and see an answer you have gotten. Oh, you have arrived there, you check the answer, you see 8,000 and you think that is the answer. Follow what the question is saying. The question says, what is the compound interest? So, simple. Therefore, compound interest. So let's see if we have our answer in the option. At the end of 2 years is interest for for year 1 plus interest for year 2. Okay, so that gives us what is our interest for year 1, 8,000 naira plus 9,600 naira. 9,600 naira. So if we add 8,000 and 9,600 naira, 9,600, 8,000, okay? So 0, 0 is 0, 0, 0 is 0, 6, 0 is 6, 9 and 8, 9 plus 8, you know 8 plus 8 is 16, so 9 plus 8 will be 17, so this is 17, so this is 17,600, so this is 17,600 naira. So let's check if that is in our option, and that is option B, the correct option there, okay? All right, so that is how to go about this. Let's see if we can take one more. They say this is for 2 years too, so it's still the same thing that bosses saves, okay, how much will she collect after 2 years? Okay, I think this is a better question. This one, find the compound interest. I want you to take it as an assignment. You solve the question and post on the comment section, okay? The question is, find the compound interest on 800 naira at 4% for 2 years. Find the compound interest, okay? Then additional question I'm asking there too is, find the compound amount. What is the compound amount at the end of 2 years, okay? So let's solve this one that is, bosses saves 10,000, okay, at 10% per annum. So she saves 10,000 naira in a bank, and the agreement is that bank will give her 10% per annum in a compound interest, not in a simple interest, in a compound interest. Okay, so they are asking how much will she collect after 2 years. So let's look at that. How much will Bosse collect after 2 years? How much will Bosse collect after 2 years? So let's look at the solution of this. You have the question on the screen there, so you can just go back and get the question. All right? So P1, interest of the first year is equal to P1 times rate times T all over 100. All right? So this will mean P1, of course, is 10,000. All right? Times rate is 10% times 1 over 100. Is that okay now? All right. So what that means is this removes this removes this. So the interest of Bosse in the first year is going to be 1,000 naira only. So 1,000 naira. So in the first year, Bosse is getting 1,000 naira. So second year now, second year, what is our P2? This is our principal 2. Of course, you know it's P1 plus I1. I1, all right? Which is P1 is what? 10,000 plus I1 is what? 1,000. So it means, okay, so 10,000 plus 1,000 is 11,000, okay? 10,000 plus 1,000 is 11,000. So that is P2 is 11,000 naira. So what Bosse is having as amount to start reading again the second year is 11,000. So we say therefore the interest on 11,000 now is what we are doing. Interest on 11,000 times how many percent? 10% times 1 all over 100. So this goes out, this removes this. So we're having the interest for the second year to be equal to 1,100 because this is 1100. That is 1100 in naira, please. So 1,100. So we say therefore compound now. Interest is equal to interest of the first year plus interest of the second year. Is that okay? All right. So this gives us, let's have it here. This gives us interest of the first year is 1,000. So 1,000 plus 1,100. Is that okay now? It means that the compound interest, CA, compound amount rather, compound interest is equal to 1,100 plus 1,000, that is 2,100 naira. So 2,100 naira is the compound interest for 2 years. But is that what Bosse? Because I have it as an option there as option A. Some of you will erroneously go and pick that as the answer. Is this what Bosse will take at the end? They say how much will she collect after 2 years? If she collects this money after 2 years and go, it means that she has lost in this investment. Remember, she invested 10,000. So they must give her 10,000 back first of all. Okay? So we have, remember that formula, compound amount, CA, is equal to compound interest plus principal amount. Do you understand? So it means that compound amount that she will get is equal to compound interest of 2,100 plus principal, which is her principal amount is 10,000 naira. It means that 10,000 naira plus 2,100 will give us 12,100. 12,100 naira. So we have Option C, Bosse takes home 12,100 naira at the end of 2 years. All right. So that assignment I gave to you, you just try it out and give your answer in the comment section. I think this is how much we can take in compound interest. I want to believe that you have understood the concept and you can go ahead and answer questions on compound interest henceforth. Thank you very much. See you next time in our class.